What's up, man?
Mr. Knowles!
What's up, Carlo?
How's it going?
What's up, bro?
I am in the castle.
Come in.
It's
Come
royalty
in.
here.
Wait a minute, you brought my favorite.
I bought your favorite. My
Yeah.
mama raised me right.
She did.
Don't go to no one's house empty-handed.
Never.
Mr. Knowles, this is a
Right,
beautiful
shot there,
home.
brother.
Well, you know, I gotta do, listen, it's you. I'm in the presence of a legend.
Well,
So I gotta
thank
make
you.
sure I look the part, dress the part, and, you know, come looking good.
So you looking great.
Okay.
Where did you come from?
Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I was just in Atlanta.
Oh, you are?
Literally.
Making
last week.
some deals?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Anyone
come
wanna
in,
share
man.
with me?
Not yet. Not yet.
Look at the art. Oh my, Mr. Knowles, the artwork.
Now, I have to tell you about this house. We bought this house 4 years ago. It was built in the 90s by a black man. A black man was the same man, architect and builder. In our
that's
whole
rare.
neighborhood, 65 houses, he built 2. And we're grateful and fortunate to be in one. And it has that spirit.
It does. No,
It has
I
that spirit.
feel it.
It's that spirit
I feel
that
it.
a black man did.
This is good. Got the sunroof. I mean, Mr. Knowles.
Well,
this is
that's I love showing this to everybody.
Oh, okay, wait.
This is why I bought the house.
Okay, wait, let me see.
This
Okay,
is
wait.
why I bought the house, right
I'm
there.
talking about MTV Cribs.
All right, we on MTV Cribs. All right.
What you got? Oh, Lordy. No. Yo.
I've never seen that before.
I have never seen that before.
So when we first looked at the house, Gina, who's your biggest fan, by the way,
Aw, can't wait to meet her.
Gina was down here with the realtor. You know, we were looking down here.
Yeah.
Then he was like, "Let's go upstairs." So I just stayed right here. They got upstairs, and he said, "I don't think your husband liked this house." She was like, "No, he's trying to figure out how he's gonna buy this
Because that is the
because
big
it was way
attraction.
over our price range."
Look at that. Oh, gosh. You can't beat that. That's
Yeah.
good.
Come in, man.
Oh, well, thanks. Listen, thank you so much for inviting me in your home. You have no idea. Your home is beautiful.
Thank you.
You and Miss Gina did a splendid job.
Well, we've been here 4 years now,
Okay.
and it was a hot mess when we moved in.
Okay.
But we're there now. We're there. We're happy. Gina trusts me to design this. The person that built this house was a black man.
I love that.
You know,
I love that.
so we're at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I give all the props to your wife, Gina, because she's the reason why I'm sitting here.
She is. She is.
Because up until today, you have no idea who I was. And when my team reached out to you to request the interview, I was told by my producer, you said, but first of all, who is this Carlos King you talk about? And then when you told your wife, she said, oh, I love him and you need to do it.
Absolutely. Because I was like, Carlo, who is that? She was like, you have to know who that is. So I was like, okay. Because I trust her.
Yeah.
I trust her.
Yeah. Well, no, this is going to be good. So listen, I want to start by saying this, and I mean this with every fiber in my being, with every sentiment in my soul, okay? This interview means the world to me because unbeknownst to you, I have followed your career since I was 15 years old.
What?
15. I'm 45. I'm 45 years old.
Okay.
You are someone that I have looked up to for 30 years and counting. And the reason why I wanted you to know that is because you have no idea the impact that you have made on my life, being a black man in an industry that at 15 years old, I knew I wanted to be a part of. I do reality television and podcasting and digital, but I didn't know at 15 I was going to do that. But for me, Mr. Knowles, I saw a black man who took charge of a white male dominated industry. And you did it unapologetically. You did it with such a masterful strategy. And I don't think you get the props you deserve. So I want you to know this, okay? I'm here to give you your flowers. I'm here to give you your respect. And I also want to be able to use my platform to educate my peers and the younger generation on the establishment that you have created and curated for people like me to be able to take your blueprint. And it doesn't mean you have to be in the music industry. It's for every person in the world who came from a community where they were invisible and dominated. And this interview, this conversation rather, is an opportunity for me to let the world know how much you not only mean to me, but what you mean to our industry.
Well, first of all, thank you. Those are very, very surprising. You never know who's watching, who's looking, what influence you have. So to hear you say that, I say with gratitude, thank you.
No, thank you. So listen, I want to get into your background because take us back a little bit, Mr. Knowles, when it comes to the fact that you were born at a time of the pre-civil rights movement in Alabama. And I just kind of want to know like your story in terms of what that was like for you and how you were able to become who you are today.
So I was born in 1952, so that do the math. Little small town, Gaston, Alabama. I understand you know Huntsville. I understand you know Huntsville.
Thank you, Oprah. Yes.
but born in Gaston, and my mother lived in a smaller town, grew up in Marion, Alabama, and went to high school actually with Coretta King and Andrew Young's wife. So imagine these three ladies going to high school together in Marion, Alabama. Just like Coretta, my mother took up the torch of desegregation. And when she moved to Gaston and married my dad, I never went to a black school. Now imagine that. So 52 elementary, I would have been 6 years later in 58. Integrated elementary, integrated Litchfield Junior High, Gaston High, University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. And so growing up in Gaston was a lot of challenges. I've been spit on, I've been electric prodded, ran by the state troopers running after us after doing boycotts, all of that. That's how I grew up. I have a lot of trauma when I think about Gaston, Alabama, and had to go to therapy for years for that trauma.
Wow. Did you have to go to therapy starting when as an adult, or did you have to go through that through your childhood?
As an adult.
As an adult. And the trauma that you experienced, did that show up a lot in your adulthood?
I would say not a lot, but at some point I unraveled, had too much going on, and it showed up very, very strongly then.
And did therapy teach you how to sort of deal with that? Like, what was that process like for you?
Yeah, therapy did, because there's triggers.
Right.
There's things that trigger in trauma. And so I had to learn how to understand those triggers. I had to learn how to workaholism is a thing. Just like alcoholism, the isms. So, all of it is about escaping from society, right? Just escaping from the moment. We use work, drugs, alcohol, whatever it could be. And so I had to understand that. I had to understand the value of my worth and not let that little kid, Mathew, control sometimes my behavior.
What's fascinating is you grew up with this horrific sort of experience just by being spat on and all the other stuff, but you were able to sort of, as a man, enter a career, working at Xerox, where you were, a top executive there. How did that experience in your childhood manifest to where you were still able to dominate an industry that at this point wasn't even in the music industry, but you were able to sort of be this executive at this company and do amazing sales during that time?
I want to come back to that, because I listened very well. You said a word horrific in
Yeah.
my childhood. My childhood, as tough as it was, I had these amazing parents.
Okay.
My mom and dad were amazing black people. My mom made $3 a day as a colored maid. She convinced that white woman to give her all her hand-me-downs. And on the weekends, my mom and her two best girlfriends, and I know this because I had to, as they got older, I had to thread the needle for them. They would make these beautiful quilts, Carlos, these beautiful quilts. My dad made $30 a week as a truck driver. And he would convince those white folks that own the produce company to keep that truck 24/7. And he would tear down old houses, sell the copper, aluminum, all the wood, the metals. He would go, because in Alabama, as you know, they sometimes abandon their cars in the front yard if it didn't stop. He would go buy a car for $25 and sell every part on it. So my parents, as well as my grandparents, were entrepreneurs, and I love that. They always gave me hope. They always told me I could do anything I wanted to in life. So I just wanted to go back for a minute, rewind, and then now I'll answer your question about corporate America. You're getting a sense of me now, right?
Yeah, no, I love that. I'm here for all of it. So before we even get into that, you come from a family of entrepreneurs, so was that instilled in you as a kid?
Absolutely. That Sir Davis whiskey, that's my grandfather. Dave,
That's your grandfather.
my grandfather, Dave Hogue, Marion, Alabama, 200 acres of land. Let me tell you what my genius granddad did. He would parcel off like 50 acres to the paper mill in this little town. And they would come cut off the trees, clear the bush, and they would lease the land from him. And then he would go behind them and farm. They would pay him to clear off the land. Genius. Genius. And at the same time, there was a little creek that ran through his property that he became a moonshine distributor. I remember I was about 12 years old, and there was a knock on the door one Saturday, these three white men, and they knocked on the door and asked my grandmother, "Is Mr. Hogue here?" So it was the first time I ever heard a white man call a black man Mr. I mean, I'm so proud of my grandfather. He spent a lot of time with me. And on my dad's side, my grandmother, they lived next door to the biggest club in that part of Alabama. And after 1 o'clock, she would make these fish and chicken sandwiches and bootleg. So, you know, I had entrepreneurship spirit on both sides of the family.
That's amazing. So, well, I want to stay on Sir Davis for a bit. So, when that whiskey came about, was there a conversation that was had about honoring your grandfather in that way?
There was a conversation. There was a conversation. I still think, and hopefully, Beyonce and I can go to Marion, Alabama. I hadn't been there in a long time, just to experience that childhood that I had and understand better her grandfather and grandmother.
When you got to corporate America, was that a industry that you wanted to get into? How did that come about?
Because as a kid, I always wanted to be a businessman.
Yeah.
You know how when you're a kid and they'll be like, "Hey boy, what you gonna be when you grow up?" A businessman. So I had mentors. Reverend B.L. Walker, he was a minister. He was my godfather, a mentor. I had my parents as mentors. And I always wanted to be a businessman. Didn't quite, as a kid, knew exactly. I just know when Reverend Walker would go down to the store, he had a suit on. I was like, "Reverend Walker, why you wear a suit just to go to the store?" And he would tell me it was about perception. Me and Gina called it optics. It was about optics. And I just knew that's the life I wanted to live, that type of life.
How did Xerox come about? Was it something you applied for, or, you know, dominating that world?
What year was that? It was 1986. December 6, 86. Actually, it was December 6, 76. Yeah, because I just graduated from Fisk. And I had never been to Houston. And me and some of my frat brothers, Omega Psi Phi, had been there the month before for the football game with Texas Southern. And I decided this is where I want to live. So without a job, I was working with the Bell system in Houston, and then you couldn't transfer. So without a job, I came to Houston. And I worked with Pitney Bowes for a couple of months. And me and some of my friends, and we were just, it used to be happy hour Friday night was a big deal in corporate America. And so maybe about 10 guys, we were at a bar just hanging out, a happy hour. And this little short white boy comes up to me and says, "Can I speak with you for a second?" And I'm like, "What?" "I've been listening to you guys. I've been sitting here listening for about an hour, and I love hearing your leadership. You're exactly what we want at Xerox." And I was like, "Yeah, right, okay, yeah." And then he showed me his card. It said Human Resources. He said, "Can you meet me, this is a Friday, can you meet me at 8 o'clock at my office?" I was like, "Of course, that's how I got my job." You never know who's looking, never know who's listening.
And this goes back to the optics thing, because you were just being yourself and somebody overheard you speaking and then offered you. Would you consider that to be the job of a lifetime at that time in 1976?
You could get no better than IBM and Xerox. There was no better. And Xerox was ranked by Forbes repeatedly as the best corporation for blacks in America to live, to work. Let me repeat that. Xerox was ranked by Forbes repeatedly to be the best place for blacks in corporate America to work.
And what was your job exactly? Because it was doing sales, correct?
Sales and marketing. That branch was the #1 branch in the country. So I had to be a trainee longer than usual. So I trained in another division, the engineering division, selling a microfiche reader printer. Did very well as a trainee. Then I got a territory selling copiers. Was the top sales quarterly. And then one evening I'm at the office late and I hear a ticker tape machine. Imagine that takes you back, right? And it's just going off in the office, and I go and I read and it says grade 11. And I'm like, grade 11? Like I'm a grade 6. And I saw the salary, and then I looked at it. I couldn't pronounce the word. It was zero radiography, sales position. I went in the next day and I asked the branch manager, could I interview for the role? And he kind of laughed like, you just got here. This is like the top echelon of sales at Xerox. There's no way you're gonna get this job, but I think it'd be a good exercise for you, Knowles. So, but what he didn't know is the public library was 2 blocks over, and I went to the library every day I could and study up on breast cancer, because that's what it was. Zero radiography in the 80s was the leading modality for breast cancer detection. So I did my thing that I always do, research, research, research. So when I interviewed, everybody had been there longer than me. I was the only black they interviewed, but they talked about, well, I've been here 15 years, and I went in talking about breast cancer. And that impressed the sales manager that I was the only one that took the time to understand the modality. That's how I got the job.
And what was the yearly salary at that time for you?
I think the salary was around 85, but forget that, it was the commission.
Because you had to like go and sell this device.
Yeah, I covered 4 states. I covered Alabama, Tennessee, Mississippi, 5, Louisiana, and a third of Texas.
So she's making money.
Yeah, we did good.
You did good.
We did good. We did good.
So going back to that time, so here you are, you're a black man from Alabama, you are dominating in Texas at this time, And during this whole thing, you obviously meet a woman named Celestine Beyonce. Can you talk to me about how y'all met and where you were at in your life at the time?
I was still at Xerox Medical, and my roommate graduated from law school, and I threw him a party, and she came with another fraternity brother. I thought they were on a date, but it turned out as the evening went on, they weren't, and that's where I met her.
And you approached her and just said, I am Mr. Knowles.
I approached her like she was holding my vinyl with her finger, prints like this. And I was like, excuse me, like, please hold my vinyl like this. Like I really had a strong vinyl collection. Like I don't want no damn fingerprints all on my vinyl. Like that's how it started. Yep.
Mr. Knowles.
You asked the question.
Oh, and I love the answer. So she's holding your vinyl wrong, and your way of breaking the ice is correcting the way it's being held.
I wasn't even trying to break the ice.
You was gonna make sure your vinyl record.
I wasn't trying to break ice. I just wanted my vinyl. I mean, I was really into my vinyl collection.
So what was her response to that?
Kind of looked at me crazy, like, what? Yeah, that's how it started.
So what was it like in that early days of dating? Like, did you know at that time when you first met Miss Tina that this is my wife?
I was trying to see how long can I make her wait. You should have seen the look in his face. Everybody held their damn breath on the set.
I'm happy people get to know your comedic side. Because, you know, people think you're so serious.
Oh, boy, that's my wife.
But I
You
love,
joke all the time.
I love the fact that you actually are a jokester. You're a jokester.
I am a jokester.
I love it.
Nobody knows that.
Oh, they know now. If they didn't know before, Mr. Knowles, they know now.
Every night, me and Gina, we crack. I have her cracking up, man, just cracking.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you one thing that was really funny. I didn't see Tina because I have to pause because Gina.
I never put that together.
So I have to
I see what you're
just
saying. Yeah.
make sure I say Tina
Yes.
and not Gina.
Correct.
You're asking me about Tina.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
We got that right.
Okay.
So I didn't see her really for almost 7 or 8 months. I covered downtown selling copiers then. I was. And she worked downtown, and there was Macy's where kind of the black folks at lunchtime would congregate, and there was a little coffee shop. It was a couple of places. I saw her at the coffee shop, and I just kind of looked in and kept walking. I saw her at Macy's. I walked the opposite way because I'm like, okay, she stood me up, right? Because I had asked to take her to lunch the following week when I had met her with the vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
And I had written her name on the shoebox, B-OZ-say, S-A-Y, B-ounce say. Say that fast. Beyonce.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she told me she worked at MasterCard. And I got all dressed up. Next Monday, lunchtime, at the receptionist asking for this lady, last name Beyonce. And there's no one that works there. So I use my business card to then say that I'm a service representative. And while I'm here, I like to check your copiers. And so she let me go back to where the copiers were. And then I asked, well, is that Tina Beyonce? Is that Tina Beyonce? They're like, no. And so I walked away disappointed. Almost 3 months, 4 months passed, and we're downtown, 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. She's on one side of the street, I'm on the other side, and we're looking at each other. We have to cross paths. And then in the middle, I was like, oh yeah, that was that person who stood me up. She was like, get out of the street, let me tell you. I was waiting on you. I said, no, you weren't waiting on me. I was at MasterCard. She said, fool, I told you Visa. Yeah.
The fact that we get to talk about this, I just love it so much. Okay.
Yeah.
So you got the wrong merchant.
Yeah, I got the wrong one.
Okay.
I got excited.
Okay. So then the coffee shop thing happened. So you guys were able to communicate, hang out. Obviously, you guys get married. When you look back on your life at the time, Mr. Knowles, was marriage something that you just thought like, I'm successful, I have a great job, I met this great woman, is this the next step for me in my life?
So at 15, you were thinking this? When you follow me, this is what you were thinking? You were thinking about my marriage and if I was happy and shit? Like, come on, man. Come on, man.
Mr. Knowles, I said 15 today and counting. In my defense.
15, he's like, yeah.
Because you know, there's levels to this. There's levels to this. And like I said to you earlier, this is your life, Mr. Knowles.
Well, I appreciate you for having this conversation with me.
Good.
I really do, really do.
Thank you.
So what was the question? I forgot.
That was okay. So when you got married, did you think at the time like that was just the right thing to do, just based on like what we're taught during that era in our lives that, okay, graduating
So you know what
college.
my brain just did? When you said, when you got married, I just immediately went to Gina. So you want to stay on this conversation?
No. We can move on from No. We can move on from it for sure.
I think that would probably be a good thing.
Yeah. No, we'll move on from that.
Okay.
So the thing for me, though, that I really wanted to get into is you have this successful life for yourself, this successful career for yourself. What made you, though, feel like, I see my child be this person at the talent show who's doing great, but I have this great job that is taking care of me and my family. What was it in your mind that said to yourself, maybe this is the risk that I should take? Because that, to me, in my opinion, Mr. Knowles, doesn't get talked about enough. Because I know what it's like to leave one career and tap into another and have success in it, but it's scary. And it takes a lot of prayer, a lot of faith, a lot of belief. What was it at that time that you felt the need to have that leap of faith?
Well, I think, often, and you'll probably be the first to get the interview right. Most articles say I left Xerox and went on with Beyonce's career. I left Xerox in 1988. The then president of Xerox Medical Systems went to another diagnostic imaging company, Philips. It was Picker International, which became Philips. And I became the first black in America to sell MRI and CT scanners in 1988. And that's really important that we get that right. That's a big damn deal, that you're selling a $4 million piece of equipment that it takes another $2 million to install in 1988. And you've got to explain technology because it's first generation. Stayed there 5-6 years, and then I went to Johnson & Johnson in one of their divisions called Codman as a neurosurgical specialist. I don't want that to get erased because that was, those 8 years was before Beyonce. So when I started working with Beyonce, I had 20 years of corporate America experience in sales and marketing, being the #1 sales rep in a world. So I had this, I want people to know what I brought to the music industry. And so here's this 6-7 year old that's passionate about music. She's quiet. She always listening to music because music wasn't around our house all the time. And she finally is in elementary school and decides she wants to compete in a music contest. And we say yes, and it's middle school kids. So we're saying she's gonna lose, but let's make sure she doesn't, fall hard, that we hold her while she fall. But she didn't. And she got there and sitting there for the event and said, "Hey, Mom, Dad, I'm getting bored. When am I going to go up and sing so I can get my trophy and my $100?" And we were like, "How do you know you're going to win?" And I was like, they're older. You might not win this first time. She said, "Oh, no, I'm going to win." And when she got on that stage, one of her albums is named Sasha Fierce. This is why, this story I'm telling you, because when she stepped on that stage, at 8, 9 years old, she became Sasha Fierce. Something happened once she got on that stage. And that's when I knew, and my former wife knew, that something special was here, that she really was passionate. And then the role of a parent, my belief is not to say, "I want you to be this when you grow up." I teach a lot of those. I teach a lot of students who parents told them they wanted to be this, a doctor, attorney, but that wasn't what they wanted to do. So we were never that way. I was never that way. But we supported her then. You surround your child with the tools. So she got in dance troupe, excelled in that, got her vocal lessons, was really passionate about that. Then one day, just out of nowhere, we owned a major hair salon in Houston. These ladies came and said, that was when these young groups were coming, Usher, ABC, all those little young kids were doing it, that they wanted to form a young girl group, and they wanted Beyonce to be the lead of it, the lead singer of it. And that's how it all came about.
And was this something that, because I want to get this part of the story right. There were 2 managers at the time, from my understanding. You're being one of them, and I believe Miss Ann Tillman. Is that correct?
Not at this time.
Not at this. So that was later. So when the sort of development of the group happened, was that solely your vision?
It was another step, and that step was they were young. I'll call them girls. The girls, they were called Girls Time, actually.
Yes.
Girls Time. We producer from Sausalito, California, Arnie Frager. He had this amazing top recording studio, record plant, Prince, Diana Ross, you name it. That's where everybody would go. And he signed Girls Time to a production deal. Again, they were like 10, 11 years old, and he got them on Star Search. And as a dad, I went because they thought they were going to win for a month, and they got an extra hotel room just for the wardrobe. And my job was just to help with the wardrobe. But then they go and compete against a 40-year-old rock band and lose. And I had shared with the managers that I thought it was the wrong song because it had rap in it. I was like, these 50-year-old white men that are judging, they've never heard rap. I've researched and watched previous shows. I don't think this is a good idea. I think you should do this beautiful ballad. And Beyonce wasn't even leading the song. It wasn't about that. It was about winning. I said, I think you should do this beautiful ballad. They, no, we know what we're doing. And they lost. And I asked Ed McMahon, what do a dad do? These kids are crying. I don't know. What do I do? Because all I used to do was drop Beyonce off, go play basketball, pick her up. And he said, for some reason, the folks that consistently win on Star Search go nowhere. It's the one that lose. And you know the names he started saying? Boyz II Men, Alanis Morissette, Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake. I can go on and on and on. These people lost on Star Search. And he said, for some reason, it's a defining moment. They go back and they change. They changed the organization, they changed members. He said, boys and men, they changed the member. That's not the same group that was here. And they rededicate. And that's when I decided, why don't I transition? It's been 20 years, that was my goal. Why don't I transition to the music industry? I went back to school because I believe knowledge is power, and I went to every seminar that I could and began to build relationships. And by the way, my first artist that I got signed, MCA Records was the #1 urban record label. Everybody from Mary J. Blige to Puffy to you name it was there. A rapper in Houston, Lil O, is the first artist I ever got signed, not Destiny's Child.
Oh, see?
Y'all got it all wrong.
Yeah, well, we're here to get it right.
Yeah.
I know that's right.
There's this group called UGK. That's the first tour I ever did with Lil O and UGK. We went to all the clubs. It was a fight every night. I had my UGK's Pimp C's mother, Ma West, was the manager for UGK, and I had the briefcase that had a bag of weed, a bottle of Crown Royal, and a 45, and the money. That was my job, to carry that briefcase, and I had a damn suit on. Everybody looking at me like I'm crazy. And then after about 10 of those, I was like, I can't do this no more. So y'all got it all wrong. The whole how I got in it, y'all got it all wrong. And you finally got it right.
Well, that's why I'm here, because I do my research like you do. So I'm glad we cleared that up. When you made a decision to focus on the music industry and do your research, did you officially quit your full-time job at the time, or were you still balancing both?
No, I officially quit my full-time job. I transitioned. I didn't quit. I always say you don't quit, you transition. So I transitioned out slowly as I'm going to school, but we had $1 million business I was also co-running, Headliner's Hair Salon.
Yes. Do you remember how much money you had in your bank account to make such a risk? Like, was like no fear of like, I got the mortgage payments, I got the property taxes, I got these kids in private school. You know, you have this, you lived in a nice big house. You live in a suburban area. You live in a gated community. So the sacrifice that you made for a dream, Mr. Knowles, that at that time obviously wasn't happening, but you saw something, because I do believe that God gives every one of us a vision that no one else can see, and that's fine, but only you can see it. But was there a moment where you looked at your account and say, all right, brother, you got maybe 2 years to get this right, or are we gonna have to like make some other plans?
Well, you said 2 traits in my book, The DNA of Achievers, 10 traits of highly successful professional. You just said 2 of them: risk-taking and being a visionary. And I hope I was both of those traits. I had a vision for the girls, and I was willing to take a risk to the point that almost lost our house. Came very, very close of getting foreclosed because I was constantly spending money. I was sending packages out, going to all these meetings around the country, putting the girls in the studio. You know, I had to finance all of that. You know, so, you know, that was a risk I was willing to take. But also, it wasn't just the girls. I had another artist, again, who I had then gotten signed to a record label. So it was not, I never left corporate America, be clear, just to do Beyonce. I left corporate America to start a music company, Music World Entertainment, which ended up being management as well as record label. That was always the goal. I'm not gonna be doing a one-off. You obviously don't know me if you think I'm just gonna do a one-off kind of thing. And I hope we talk about Music World in this conversation.
Oh, absolutely, because I do want to get into the fact of the company and how much you sold it for, you still part of it, and all those things. So that's definitely something I want to highlight too in this conversation, because to me, what I want to, of course, highlight is the intentions behind these risks, because I do feel like nowadays everybody wants the success, but a lot of people don't want to take the sacrifices that it takes to get there. And I think that you are the prime example of somebody who did it right. And there's so many gems and lessons in your story that I want to talk about, because I know that a lot of people will be inspired by that. So one of the things I do want to get into is the fact that you have this vision, right? And obviously it worked. And we're going to get into all of the accolades that you have amassed for yourself. But the one thing I've always wanted to ask you, because to me, this is so specific, right? In terms of how you were able to have this vision for this group. What made you say, I'm going to put you girls in high heels and jog and do this sprint exercise? Because did you know at the time that I see longevity and I see you young women being these superstars that will become the biggest girl group of all time?
That's a number of questions, and I'm going to answer them. Again, I'm a research guy. I love to research. And I believe how you practice is how you play, because I'm an athlete. I was a high school basketball star, played college basketball. How you practice is how you play. So I wanted to make sure that when Destiny's Child practiced, they didn't know the lights might go off, the sound might drop, even down to the point that a heel might break. So I wanted them to practice because this is how they were going to have to play. And when they were jogging and singing, that was for conditioning. And all of those things become important. And so our artist development has become, worldwide acclaim. A lot of artists have gone through our artist development camp, all the way down to media, how you answer conversations. Mm-hmm. So we were that thorough in our approach to the industry.
Do you feel like when you enter the music industry, were you prepared for a lot of the racism that exists?
I'm thinking now, let's do a deal and we make this a documentary, and I can give you like 10 more names and we interview it. No bullshit. Like, this is feeling real documentary, and I'm good with that. But me and you're gonna have to own it.
Yeah. I would love to do a documentary on you.
We're doing it now.
Yeah, no, yeah. This is the precursor to it.
All right.
Yes, yeah.
What was the question? I forgot.
I
got excited.
No. When you enter the music industry, because again, I don't want to make this about me, but I need you to know that I was not prepared for the racism that me in television had to experience, Mr. Knowles, until I got into it.
Right.
And then I felt all these microaggressions. And what I want to talk about with you is the fact that, listen, I want to fast forward to the highlight reel, if I may, because we're going to do a documentary. So I want to fast forward to the highlight reel, if I may, Mr. Knowles. It bothers me that you don't get the props that you deserve, like your white counterparts do. It bothers me that you never graced the cover of Variety magazine. The Hollywood Reporter, Rolling Stone. And no disrespect to these people, but we've seen Clive Davis, Scooter Braun. We saw Clive Davis because obviously he had Whitney Houston and all these amazing artists under his tutelage. We saw Scooter Braun because, listen, he had Justin Bieber, Ariana Grande. We see Kris Jenner and what she did with the Kardashians. What has always bothered me is the fact that you literally have done the work to create the biggest selling girl group of all time, the last girl group to have a #1 hit on Billboard Hot 100 with the song Bootylicious. Your daughter Beyonce was just awarded the greatest pop star of the 21st century. With all of that success, I feel like you do not get, excuse me, you do not get the props you deserve. And it bothers me.
Yeah, I agree with you totally. And you know, I say this with a lot of gratitude. It's not only what you just said. I mean, most people don't realize, if you look at Billboard, they have every decade they put out a special edition. So if you look at the Billboard in 2010 for the Artist of the Decade, 2000 to 2009, Beyonce in 2009 of the decade was the #1 female artist. See, people think this success of Beyonce just happened. So I want to clear this up.
Okay.
Beyonce was the #1 artist of the decade in 2009. At the same time, Destiny's Child was the #1 female group of the decade. Why is this important? Billboard is probably the only way that you get accurate information. This ain't hype, this ain't social media. These are real sales numbers. So I look at that as extreme credibility. In that same edition, Destiny's Child was #8 overall, Beyonce was #7 overall, and Jay-Z, who I didn't even know, was #9 of the decade from 2000 to 2009. What people don't know is, along with the help of BET Sunday Best, when I came up with this idea of Destiny's Child each having their own solo projects, because of Michelle, I started Music World Gospel. And we partner with BET Sunday Best. Most people don't know that. Leandra Johnson, #1 artist, female artist gospel. We built at little small Music World, the #1 gospel label in the world.
With Trinity 357.
With Trinity 57, Juanita Bynum, Brian Courtney Wilson. I can go on and on and on. And at the same time, I sell Music World to a company in London, Sanctuary, and we partner to form a record label. I'm the president of a whole division of 75 employees. Who's on that label? Earth, Wind and Fire, last album with Maurice. OJ's, we did 2 albums. De La Soul, Sunshine Anderson. I could go on the record label side. Then I bought 5 young men in their late 20s, early 30s, and made each one of them millionaires. And they deserved it because they had some of the top black artists in the world. We'll start with Mary J. Blige. I bought Kendu Isaacs. He wasn't her husband at the time. He was her producer and manager. There's a young man out in LA, Troy Carter, and his business partner, his dad is top basketball player. How could I forget his name?
Dr. J.
Dr. J, Julius Erving.
Yes, yes, he works with Nelly.
No, you're close.
No?
They work with Floetry, Eve, and then towards the end of the career, Lady Gaga.
Yes.
And I remember many hours talking to Troy as he was going on his first tour, and he didn't understand touring and explaining it to him. And then there was a young man out of St. Louis that managed Nelly. And then Demet Guidry out of Atlanta managed Mary Mary and was my GM. There was a reason why Nelly and Kelly did a song together. There's a reason why Lady Gaga and Beyonce did Telephone together. But people don't know this. People don't know how it works. People really don't know, and they shouldn't, because this music industry is very complex.
And all of that was just a strategy in terms of how you saw things. So the fact that people don't know that, is that your way of explaining why they don't give you the covers? Do you think it's because they don't know that? Or to be candid, do you think because at the end of the day, you were a black man who taught himself the music industry, and you came into an industry, Mr. Knowles, and disrupted it in a way that you felt like, I am going to do this to protect not only my legacy, but any artist that I have on my label?
I think it's more because of disruption I did. I truly do, and I can't forget ever to leave Solange out of that whole equation, because I managed and she was on the record label. But it was because of the disruption. I think in the early beginnings, I played that role of being behind the scenes, but I think historically now people, and to be clear, the names you just named, those magazines and the industry as a whole, it's disruption. And you started it out, if I was a white Mathew Knowles, everyone would know that. Everyone would know that. What we've accomplished and what I've accomplished in the music industry would be noted.
Does it bother you?
Yeah, it does, because it's his story, not history. And it's time that we don't allow his story. And it's a time young people that get on social media and chatter, at least get facts. Chatter after you get factual data, and then whatever your perspective is, I can live with that. But don't be an idiot and chatter and you don't know what the hell you're talking about.
I agree with that. And it's honestly the main reason why I wanted to sit down with you is because I need this young generation to understand that who they enjoy now has a direct correlation with what you built.
Because it's not microwave success. And that's what our young generation has to understand. If you look at all those before and after in any area, I'm not just talking music, I'm talking sports, I'm talking corporate. These people put in the work. They put in the work. And Outliers is one of my favorite books by Gladwell, Brother Gladwell up in Canada, brother. And he talks about, and he researched for years, to be great requires doing it 10,000 hours. And when you look at Serena and Michael Jordan and Beyonce and a lot of other people, they put in 10,000 hours, even in interviewing. That's why I'm grateful to do well as a motivational public speaker, because I've done it 10,000 hours. That's why I can sit in this interview and have fun and be comfortable, because I've done it 10,000 hours. I put in the work. And so that's what I hope young people get out of this interview, whatever their passion is. Passion and work ethics go together. You just can't have a passion. You can't have this $1 million idea, but then you put in minimum wage type of work. That don't go together. $1 million idea, but minimum wage equivalent work. You have to work to become great at something.
Do you miss it? Do you miss the music industry?
I miss the corporate. I actually miss corporate America. And I've thought many, many times, if I had to do it again and it was done a different way and I knew that Beyonce and Solange were good, I would have never got into the music industry, because I was earmarked and being tracked. I would have become a president of a Fortune 500 company. I'm sure of that. And I made a lot of money in music, but I would have made a lot more in corporate America.
You think so?
Well, just do the math. I mean, when you are at that level, you're making, 10, 15 million a year, and then when you retire, it's a whole different thing. Absolutely, no question.
I'm surprised by that. And I'm gonna tell you why I'm surprised by it. Because, and I do mean this, and I hope you feel the sincerity. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have Beyonce, Solange, Destiny's Child. That's my opinion. I do
get
believe
that.
this. I do believe this.
I get that.
There's tons of people who say Kim Kardashian and the Kardashians would be nothing without Kris Jenner, and I understand what that means based on this mama bear having to orchestrate people she know. I think you were the only one, and I want this generation to know that despite what they may feel or whatever, and again, I'm making in trouble for saying this, and my apologies in advance. I strongly believe we wouldn't be enjoying the music or even knowing who they are if it wasn't for you. And that's why, for me, a father's sacrifice to see his kids' dreams come true should never, ever be relegated to just like, oh, well, he was just there doing what a father does. And I don't believe in that. I look at you and Joe Jackson, and in my humble opinion, I think you and Joe Jackson are the most disrespected black men to ever exist in the music industry. And I strongly believe that because you two had to be a father and a manager, and what that presented itself to this industry, which is why I feel sad that Joe Jackson's legacy, in my opinion, and you don't have to agree with this, obviously, you know what you want to do, it hurts my soul that Joe Jackson's legacy to me is the fact that people see him as, oh, well, you whipped your kids. You whipped your kids. Not really seeing the sacrifice this black man made 20 years, 30 years before your time. And when I look at you and I see you made the same sacrifices, and people just say, oh, whatever, you know, he did this, he did that, and it's like, do you not understand what that means? Do you not understand what it means to dominate an industry that isn't welcoming to someone who looks like you? You are a tall, handsome, dark-skinned black man. And you came in, and my favorite story is how you came into the record label and you switched the lights back and forth.
Yeah, so keep the lights on.
And you said, I keep the lights on. This, you know what I'm saying? Like, stop playing with me. Your approach may not have been the Virgin Mary, right? Your approach to getting things done may not have been the most Pollyanna way of doing it. But let the record show it's because you also weren't welcomed into their world either.
Well, two things come to mind. There's a part of me certainly agrees with the father part. I think, in all respect to Mr. Jackson, he came with a more musical background than I did. Mm-hmm. So his approach was coming from a musical standpoint. They were a band that's different than a group, just the whole ethos of it all. I brought, and I go back to corporate, a lot of our success is my corporate macro approach. Mm-hmm. I'm so proud of this young man. There's a number of people that I've had the opportunity to, in some way, mentor. So the president of Sony Music Publishing, John Platt, I have so much respect for this young man who used to fly down from Denver and talk to me, and we would just talk, and I saw this I could see in some people that they are a star. You're a star.
Thank you.
I just met you. You're a star.
Thank
I didn't know what to expect. But John just told me last week, he said, I never will forget, you gave me this message on leadership, and you invited me to go Beyonce's first performance at MTV, and you were there and you were checking everything out, and they brought in the audience, and you got on the phone and you were like talking to her publicist. You were going off like, what is this? This ain't no damn BET. Why all these black people in the front row? I need some damn white people in the front row. This is damn Beyonce's first time on MTV. What the hell is going on? And he said, I looked at you and I was like, and then I said, okay, I fixed that, we gotta go. He was like, you're not gonna stay? I said, I can't build being here watching all the things Beyonce are doing. I gotta go make shit happen. I was never that manager that had I was on macro. Mm-hmm. I wasn't micro. So my point is, my approach was corporate. Mm-hmm. My approach was, I knew the budget of Columbia Records marketing budget was, let's say, $1 million, I needed to go to L'Oreal and get Destiny Child, Kelly, Solange, Beyonce, they all did things with L'Oreal, get their music in a commercial or get them in a commercial, and as well as their music. L'Oreal has a $25 million marketing budget. So why would I accept $1 million when I could go out and bring in these strategic partners who had $25 million budget? That's what's the secret sauce, along with the talent and the passion of the ladies, along with having great songs, along with, and I'm having this next week, I'm planning right now, I have my first master class at Prairie View. The strategy for Destiny's Child, if you think about imaging in 1997, it was TLC, hat to the back, baggy boots, SWV, same thing, Escape, same thing, and bam, here comes Glamour and Glitz by this little young group. Nobody's understood Bills, 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 Say My Name, Bootylicious, Girls, 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 Independent Woman. Female empowerment. Everything was about female empowerment. And that's what branding is, what differentiates you, and understanding brand development. That's what we did at the industry. They were selling records. I was building brands. Different approach.
No, that's empowering. It's empowering because when you look at that era, it was all about that. And it's funny, Mr. Knowles, I was reading this article recently about the makings of Independent Woman and how Columbia Records, her part 2, then they hired this production. And obviously the beauty of you is you understood immediately the power of publishing and what that meant. And really, you know, making sure that those girls understood publishing and writing your own music. And one of my favorite stories from LaToya Luckett is when she talked about, you know, they had a day off and they were teenage girls and they were playing, and she told this to Tank. And she said, she was like, "Where's Beyonce?" And they're like, "Oh, Beyonce's in the car." And she goes to the car and your daughter is she says, "Hot outside." She's in her car and she's writing music. And she sacrificed playing to write music. And that to me, I always thought about in terms of like, I just felt like your DNA is so much into that. So my question to you is, do you feel like you have sacrificed your life to make other people's dreams come true?
Absolutely. I think a lot of us have sacrificed as Black men and women. Again, now you know my background growing up and those experiences that I had growing up. I've seen a lot of people sacrifice. I see my parents sacrifice. I see my daughters sacrifice for their kids now. Mm-hmm. So I think as leaders, the key word is leadership. If you're gonna be a leader, that's part of it. Part of being a leader is letting that water just fall off of you. Part of being a leader is being ethical. Leadership is a strong thing, and every team needs a coach. So I absolutely, that leadership role, I accepted that. I accept it now.
What do you feel like is the one thing that the public got it wrong about you?
How much I love Gina Avery Knowles. No, I'm serious. Like, I think the one thing people don't know is I'm a cancer survivor. And 6 years now. I went through cancer and COVID at the same time. And actually, that's when we bought this house, actually. And Gina and I are now married 12 years, so that was halfway in. In the first half, it's like any new marriage, there's some ups and downs, some tough sides. But COVID in cancer, our lives have been so amazing, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful that I have this wonderful woman that encourages me, and we laugh and smile, and it's 100% authentic. There's no bullshit. That's what most people don't know, is how happy I am. That's what they don't know.
And do you feel like your wife, Gina, provides you with this peace and happiness that you're now able to, at this time in your life, you're still working and you're still, motivational speaking, you're in London, teaching, and you're doing all these things, but is it nice that you have Gina, that you get to sit back and look at this view and have someone to enjoy all this with?
Absolutely. I mean, it means the world to me. I would be quite lonely without it. We travel and around each other probably 97%. I think sometimes she want me, I think she like, give me a little space, bro. Give me a little space. But no, I'm extremely happy today.
You are.
And I hope that shows, because it's authentic and it's real.
Yes, no, I mean, listen, it is authentic. And even, when you talk about your cancer diagnosis, a lot of people don't know this. You were diagnosed with breast cancer.
Male breast cancer.
Male breast cancer. And I don't think people even understand that that's a real thing. Like, did you know that prior to your diagnosis? I mean, obviously you sold, equipment that dealt with cancerous situations, but were you aware that male breast cancer was even a thing?
Well, I sold specifically mammography equipment. Yeah. And so, yeah, the answer is yes. We did training in the 80s when we were the #1 modality. We did training on male breast cancer. 22,000 men a year worldwide are diagnosed with male breast cancer. But the more important thing is, through that experience, and I got a genetic test. There's something called BRCA2 mutated. Half of the world, almost, experts say are mutated. That's why we have so much disease. The people are walking around with mutations with their genes from their parents and grandparents. Mine is called BRCA2, and for men, that means a higher risk for prostate cancer. My grandfather died of prostate. 3 of my dad's brothers died of prostate. His only living brother, 93, had prostate cancer, overcame it. Breast cancer is, I've done research. My grandmother on my mother's side, sister died of breast cancer. My mother's only sister died of breast cancer. 2 of her 3 daughters died of breast cancer. So I've learned about early detection for both prostate. 1 in 8 men in their lifetime will be diagnosed with prostate cancer. Let me say that again, 1 in 8, 75% greater risk for black men. 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. Higher risk for black women. So it's important for me at this point in my life to share those things, and that gives me a lot of joy to be on the forefront messaging how important it is for early detection as well. And that brings peace and joy to me as well. Some days I just look out the window. Some days I just look out the window. That's where my creativity comes from. It's just being still. I've lost about 40 pounds over the last 5 or 6 years. I exercise, walk 2 miles, 3 or 4 times a day. I changed my diet and what I eat. All of that, along with spirituality, along with friendship, my best friend is my wife, all of that becomes important.
Take care of yourself. I love that, because we need you around, because we need you to teach the world.
Well, I don't plan on going nowhere.
Yeah, no, I don't think you're going nowhere either.
Yeah.
I got Gina's number.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna make sure I get a picture of everything you eat.
Yeah.
So before, we got some things to do. So before I wrap this up, I do want to ask you this: when you look back on your life, Mr. Knowles, and everything you have created, curated, managed, developed, I want to list some names, and I just want you to talk to me and to the world about your proudest moments of each of these people. Are we able to do that? When you look at your granddaughter, Blue Ivy, on stage, and she's 12 years old, and she is just doing amazing things, choreography and Lion King and amazing stuff. When you look at Blue Ivy, what comes to mind?
Proudest moment, I was in London the very first time she danced. I take that back. It was the second time she danced. I was in London, and I went backstage, and I was like, well, Beyonce, where's Blue Ivy? And she says, oh, she's in there practicing. And I was like, oh, okay, she's practicing. Yeah, she's practicing. And I was like, she's gonna dance again? Because it was never meant to be this ongoing that she was gonna perform. It was a one-off. And she had a young girl friend that traveled, and her parents traveled. And Beyonce said, yeah, her friend talked how bad she danced last night on social media. And so she been in there practicing. That was a proud moment for me. That she took, because in life, failure and mistakes are opportunities. Opportunity to grow and get better. Again, it goes back to Star Search and the people that lost, and the people that won, but the ones lost got better. And to hear about Blue Ivy, that someone said something negative that wasn't good. She didn't go post some negativity on social media. She went and practiced. That was a proud moment. Hopefully you all understand that. She didn't go post negative stuff. She went and practiced because she needed to practice. And she understood that at a young age, that if I'm gonna get better, I have to put in the work. So that's the Blue Ivy proud moment.
Your grandson, Jules.
Jules, that's my boy. So, gosh, what would be my proud moment with Jules, man? I guess one time recently we were in New York and we had lunch, and it was a long lunch, and it was a proud moment to hear him. He calls me Papa G. He was like, Papa G, I'm so happy. I got my bank account. I got my credit cards. I'm saving all my receipts. I was like, okay. You got it. Yeah, I was proud of him to see he was going into a businessman. Mm-hmm. So that was a proud moment for him.
Your twin grandchildren, Rumi and Sir.
They're young.
Yeah.
So, their proud moment has yet to come, okay. But just to watch them grow up.
Yeah. Michelle Williams.
Michelle is the connector of why Destiny's Child stayed. Because Michelle has never been negative. Michelle has always been, let's do this. Is that what you guys want of me? Let's do it. She has been a connector. She's never had one negative comment or action as long as I've known her. Not one. And by the way, Michelle's on Broadway strategically, going back to when I put her on Aida. Again, people don't know. These aren't happenstance stuff. I mean, that was, each one of those ladies were earmarked by me of what the future could bring. Michelle was gospel. Mm-hmm. She's had 4 #1 gospel, and it was then Broadway with Aida. Then she went on Color Purple. These things weren't happenstance.
You had the vision.
Yes.
Because Heard a Word is my jam.
I love that song too. I love that song. Heard a Word is my favorite one.
That's my favorite one.
Yeah.
I like Say Yes. I like, she has this one called
I love the musicality.
15 minutes. That's another. That's a really good one, 15 minutes. But Heard a Word does something to me.
Yeah, I love that song Leandra did that I got to co-write Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, that was a good one. Kelly Rowland.
Kelly is so proud to see what she's doing in TV. But Kelly still has this huge following. Kelly kind of didn't follow the plan 100% because Kelly earmarked to be the it girl for international, for in Europe, Australia. The good thing is she got off script, but when it comes down to TV, she's getting a lot of work in London and Australia.
Yes.
And I had wanted Kelly to be pop and international, but some people got in her ear and convinced her different. But thankfully, it's working to a benefit what she built. Because Kelly, platinum artist, repeatedly in Australia, multi-platinum, and the UK and other parts of Europe.
Commander is Kelly's best song to me. David Guetta, like that whole international play you did, Mr. Knowles, it will be studied, but I just want you to know, Commander is like.
And David's done an exceptional job. He's been with her. They're great friends.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of Kelly.
Yeah, yeah. We saw you recently reunite with LaToya and Latavia at the backstage at your daughter's concert. What was that moment like for you?
You guys have no clue. We had already had dinner months before the whole thing. So, Jedi mind trick.
Well, you taught. Well, the thing is, because, I study you. You taught your
class at Texas Southern.
You taught your artists that.
Jedi mind trick.
And it's funny because you may not know this. That's your favorite word when it comes to the gotcha. You're like, I got y'all. Y'all didn't even see this coming.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Jedi mind trick. So before that moment that we saw, you already had dinner months ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was all that like for you, Mr. Knowles?
We're gonna keep that private.
Okay, we'll keep that private for sure. When it comes to your daughter, before I get to the proudest moment, I do want to ask you this because I was an intern at The View. This is back in 2003. Crazy in Love just came out. And your daughter was performing Crazy in Love.
See, if I was a white man and did all I've done,
Uh-huh.
all the times that my publicists have tried to get me on The View, if I was a white man on The View, Whoopi, y'all would have me on there.
Well, that's why we're happy you on Reality with the King, with Carlos King, because this is going to change lives.
Yeah.
All of ours included. Because I want to tell this story. I remember you were in the green room and obviously your daughter's rehearsing. And I remember, because this is back in the day, y'all was a CD. And you had the Dangerously in Love CD. And obviously you heard the song many, 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 many times. But it was something about the fact that we were playing in the green room the song Daddy. And I am not your son, but you are the godfather of music to me, Mr. Knowles. When you heard that song, I, like till this day, it does something to me when I hear it. The sort of adoration and love that was spoken about you. When you heard that song for the first time, were you surprised by it? Meaning, did you know she was even working on it, writing it?
No, I did not know, and I probably made one of the biggest mistakes a father can make when I heard it the first time. I was in work mode, and when I heard it, I gave feedback in work mode, which was a huge mistake, one that I've apologized to Beyonce for. And since then, when I hear that song, I damn near cry. But when I heard it the first time, it was, I don't think it was, she didn't play it. I'm trying to remember who played it, but I was in work mode. And that was a mistake.
But now when you hear it, you just,
Yeah,
it's
extremely emotional.
yeah.
But I'm not gonna bullshit you, man. What you see is what you get. You ask a question, I'm gonna tell you the real about it.
What is your proudest moment when you look at your daughter Beyonce now?
That she's just a good person. I've always said that. She's just genuinely a good person. If she never made music, was in the industry, she's just a person that has so much goodness inside of her. That would be as respectful to the gardener as she would to, I don't know, the king. She's just that person.
Let's talk about Solange.
Yeah, I'm very proud that, God, Solange is just so creative, and such an artist and amazing songwriter. But, I'm proud of Solange for two things. Solange, when she was a kid, used to wear like stripes, pants, and zigzag shirt, and I'll be like, what the hell you got on, Solange? And she was like, I'm doing me. Solange in junior high got the students to do a petition to fire the teacher because she turned in a research project that was talk about a poet and why you like them, and the poet was Nas. And the teacher said a rapper is not a poet. And Solange is not the one. I get a phone call, the principal of, we have a problem, Mr. Knowles, can you get down here? It's like 7:30 in the morning. He's sitting with the assistant principal and the teacher. Like, Solange is petitioned to get the teacher fired because she said she did the report right. And I was like, she's 100% right. He is a poet. See, that's Solange. And when I hear that song, Cranes in the Sky, remember I talked about this period of life I was going through things? Just those words, you can't dance it away, you can't shop it away, you can't drink it away, you can't sex it away. That was very meaningful for me in a period of my life. So that song has so much meaning for me.
What would you like your legacy to be, like in the history books?
I say this all the time. I don't want to write my legacy. I want you and you to write my legacy. In a way, I think that's when I hear others that say this is my legacy, that's their perspective, and I respect that. But for me, I just think there's a degree of arrogance in I want to write my legacy. I want others to write my legacy, and let that be about my body of work and my impact. Talk about my successes and failures. I'm good with that because life hasn't been perfect for me, and I've learned a lot along the way. It's, I remember my first book tour, and I was going in this hotel, and I had all these boxes of books, and the bellman was pushing the cart, and I was like, young man, when am I getting to my room? Because the hallway was long, and then we turned and long, and I never forget, he says, Dr. Knowles, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. That's what I want my legacy to be about. Not my destination, but my journey.
Can I tell you what I would like it to be?
Your perspective.
I think you are the greatest music manager to ever exist in the business.
Thank you for that.
And I do mean that. I do mean that because you have talked about your successes, but you also have mentioned your failures. And I think it takes a great man, a great person, if you will, to acknowledge both. Because I do believe in order for you to be great at anything, they kind of go hand in hand. Because you oftentimes learn more from your failures than your success. So I would like that to be it. And the reason why I love this interview is because, I want this to go in the history books for people to watch, in classrooms. I want your grandkids to one day look at this and really get to know their grandfather in a much deeper way, to really just have something tangible to look at and say, like, this is who my grandfather is, or your great-great-great-grandchildren. When I look at the family crest, I would love for your picture to be as big as that artwork over there, so that when generations of the Knowles family, come around and it's 2050 and they look at this black man and they say, well, who's that? Well, that's your great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, Mathew Knowles, spelled with one T, okay? And his sacrifice that he made allowed all of us to spread the wealth. So I would like that to be a legacy.
Well, thank you for that gift. And just the mere fact that I could impact someone, it impact you when you were 15 years old, it makes it all the trials and tribulations and hard work and gratitude, it makes it worthwhile for me. That really touched me about you, to know that at 15 years old. And it also tells me when we think people aren't watching, they're watching, good or bad.
Yeah. My final question, Mr. Knowles. What happened to the Alicia Keys and Beyonce music video for
what?
and a love song? Where is it? Mr. Knowles.
Which video?
Mr. Don't tell my trick me, Mr. Knowles.
What are you talking about?
The music video.
What song?
Say you love me, put it in a love song, put it in a love song. Put it in a love song on Alicia Keys' album. I want to say I shot in Brazil. We saw a little glimpse of it.
So I get a phone call, because I'm not a micromanager, and they're in the projects hood ghetto in Rio. And Sony hadn't paid the gangsters. And they had to be helicoptered out of there. A whole lot you don't know, young man. Yeah. It's a lot that people don't know. Thank you.
At least listen, we got the song, and I'm glad that everyone is saying.
No, that's really what happened.
I didn't. Well, no.
That's why nobody talked about it.
Mathew Knowles, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you, seriously.
I hope I made you proud.
You made me very, very proud.
Okay, I hope
man.
so. And I hope you know my sincerity. I mean every word I said.
I do.
I don't want this world to, and when I say this, I'm not being, of course, dramatic. I can have this world not know your impact. I think. And it took me to enter this business and to see the roadblocks that I've had to endure.
It's all over.
And I was like,
Can
so
you imagine?
when people say, that means, this is my language, that means he's and I'm like, oh, I get it. No, because he was like, y'all ain't gonna play with me.
Right,
Yeah.
at all.
You're not gonna play with me.
Yeah.
Or mine.
And I have to do that.
Yes.
And make sure that they're protected, but I'll be the bad guy in this situation.
Exactly.
And they will always be seen as the angels, but I'm gonna be that.
Yeah.
It took me to enter this business for me to be like,
Nah, I get it.
I get it. I get it, because being nice don't work.
No, not at all. And you've got to have in this business your own creative direction. I mean, there's been many things. When Beyonce turned in her first album, Crazy in Love, Baby Boy, Me, Myself, and I, Dangerously in Love, was another hit on there.
Naughty Girl.
Naughty Girl, and then that video. Which one?
You said Baby Boy already. It was Crazy in Love, Baby Boy, Naughty Girl, Me, Myself, and I.
Dangerously in Love.
Danger Love, Freakum Dress. But in terms,
not Freakum.
that was B-Day.
Yeah.
No, it was.
One more. It was one more.
Kitty Cat was Slim Thug.
No.
That's B-Day.
No, it was
No.
the one that you showed me that.
Hip hop wasn't Hip Hop Star,
No,
was it?
What was the one that you showed me that you said that he was going to show me the girl
Deja Vu.
dancing? Deja Vu.
But that's B-Day.
That's B-Day. Well, let's say those 5.
Yeah.
Well, when you turn those into Columbia Records, they rejected the album. We had to have a meeting with attorneys and all kind of stuff. They rejected the album. They said there was not one hit on the album. They were sort of right. It was 5.
I love it. I love it so much. No,
But you
listen.
have to have your own direction. I mean, they didn't know. These white boys didn't know. And then you have so many yes people, as you've learned in the entertainment industry. They sit in meetings and they look to see what the lead person, and they go, "Oh, that's great, that's great." And they say, "Nah, we don't like."
Yeah.
You know, nobody has their own opinion. You know,
Yeah.
it's like so. We always had our own strategy. I mirrored Columbia Records. I had the record. That's how I came with out of management to records, because we had every department we had, and we kind of shared in responsibility. But anybody and everybody will tell you at those meetings at Columbia Records, I was at the head of the table.
Listen, you are the best interview I've done because I've never had anyone guide me.
I did.
In my years of being a journalist, I never had the subject tell me, this is the direction we're going, without having to say it.
I said, let's rewind.